the Moneyalogist, Miss Tanya Collins.
2, 1, 0.
Moneyality, moneyality,
Hi.
moneyality, with the money.
Hi, everyone. I am excited to be on tonight. My name is Tanya Collins, and I am the Miss Moneyalogist, and I am coming to you from the Benjamin Hooks Library in Memphis, Tennessee tonight. We are doing a special tonight down here. I am hosting a meeting tonight down where I am talking about the subject of who is responsible for teaching our kids about money. So before we get started, I want to just come on and say that I have not been on for a few months and I have really missed being on. It has been like a whirlwind. I have really been doing a lot of things to get Moneyality back out here. So I'm really excited to be back on tonight, and especially with a topic about how do we know who is responsible for teaching children about money and when should this be happening. So we're going to talk about that tonight, and I'm also going to just give you an update. Like, Moneyality has been like a really great thing. Moneyality is a business that I started, and it teaches people about how they think about money, how they feel about money, and how they act with money. Moneyality is like my creation because it started from me understanding that I have these different ideas about money, and I have always been like a great saver. And being a great saver, people were like, wow, you really do good with your money and you're a really great money manager. But it also affected me in so many different ways. It uh, it affected the way I thought about how I would spend, and I don't spend anymore. So I learned in Moneyality that I wanted to start circulating my money. I wanted to start to put money out in the community and just started moving it around. And I also knew that if you started circulating your money, it would start coming back to you in different ways. And so, like, a closed fist was not bringing money back to me. So I just wanted to do that. I just wanted to try to start something different. And I also realized that being a great saver was also hindering me from, just taking a lot of opportunities that I could have had because I was just loving to save and I was not wanting to like take some risks. As I also know that I'm a risk taker, but like sometimes when you just have money, you just like to look at it, you like to just see that it's there. And I was like, wow, I got it there. But like after that, like I wasn't enjoying moments with it. So I realized that there are money personalities, and I had the money personality as being keeper. And then I thought, okay, there are other money personalities, and there are actually 5 money personalities. There is a keeper, which is a person that is a saver. Then there is a splurger, which is a person that is an excessive purchasing circulator. And then, like, the keeper is an obsessive saving circulator. And then you have the adventurer, which is the risky thrill seeking circulator. And you have a tracker, which is a security planning circulator. And then you have a mingler, which is the carefree um, circulator. So you have these 5 money personalities, and they really affect how we deal with money, how we see money, and just a lot of aspects of that. And so with those money personalities, you have to think, wow, how are we teaching our kids about their money personality? So we're going to talk about that tonight. I'm not going to be on long. I'm just really going to just hit a couple of points because I'm just trying something new. Like I said, I'm at the Benjamin Hooks Library tonight, and I just wanted to come on and take advantage of this opportunity. So before I get started, I am going to start by talking about, I'm going to bring on my PowerPoint. And so in my PowerPoint, we're going to talk about how we activate our minds and circulate our money. And since then, I've also added that we need to elevate ourselves. And when you elevate yourself, you're going to be able to not only just activate your mind, which is activating your mind is in my mind where you you find out how you want to focus and how you want to take your ideas about money and use them in a way that it motivates your mind. It puts you in a mindset of opening up to explore different ideas. And as I mentioned earlier, circulating your money is being able to use it and put it around into the community where you are freely letting it flow and where it'll just really come back to you if you're not just so close fist with it. And then I've also added elevate yourself. And when you're doing the activating your mind and when you're circulating your money, of course, that allows you to elevate yourself because you're not just at that point at a place where you are stand still. You want to just be able to explore other ways where you can uplift yourself. And when you elevate, you want to try to move yourself up. And it doesn't mean that you're going to just go from 0 to 100, but you're also going, but what you're going to do, you're going to be able to elevate yourself in a position where your mind opens up and you see that there are other options for you. So when I say elevate yourself, I want you to be able to just go from where you are now and just open your mind up to try different things. So that's where I'm going to go with the activate, circulate, and elevate. So it's really the ace of moneyality. And from there, we're going to start with the big question is, like, where do you learn about money? A lot of people we know say that, oh, it should be at school. Some people say at home. Some people say from a mentor. And then, we just must learn the hard way. And many of us, we really do learn the hard way. We just go out there and we just kind of wing it. And how much fun is that? It's really not a lot of fun because we find ourselves just exploring. Sometimes we look at what our parents have done and they have probably just been winging it. And so nobody is just really sitting down and saying, hey, let's just try to map this out and let's try to see how is the best way for us to understand how we should use our money wisely. Which ways should we put it in the way opportunities where we may should save it or maybe we should be able to invest it. And I am telling you, with moneyality, I don't push one thing more than the other. What I like to do is give someone an assessment and it makes me see where is your strong area. Are you a splurger? Are you somebody who, like me, as a keeper? And then once I know those things, are you a keeper, you're a saver, you're an adventurer, it makes me now know that I'm going to take your primary I'm going to take your primary um, moneyality circulator type, and then I'm going to know your secondary. And out of those two, we'll be able to find some way to formulate and be able to use those two to be able to acclimate that into the other three. So then we're not looking just for a balance of all five of them to be 20, 20, 20 to make it out to an even 100. But what we're going to be able to do is to understand the process of how each one of them work. And once you understand that, you'll be able to say, hey, I'm going to be able to, if I'm a splurger, it's okay to be a splurger, but I'm going to know then that if I'm a splurger, I'm going to have to put more emphasis on and being more intentional on how not to splurge so excessively. And then if you're a keeper like I am, you're going to learn how not to be so obsessive with how much you save. And again, I am in the library, so if you're hearing somebody in the noise, that's somebody in the other room, they are having meetings over there. So just ignore any background noise. But also, so with that being said, like I'm saying, we're looking at the screen and you're thinking, wow. And I'm wondering if you are watching, how did you learn about money? Did you learn it at school? Did you learn it at home? You're welcome to type it in and I will respond. I do have access to kind of see if you want to put it in the chat. I can see if you're telling me which way you learned so that I can kind of respond to that because it's very important for you to think back and think, how did I really learn about money? And was it in a way that has made me be successful right now in life? And I'm telling you, even as a keeper, even as a person who really was an obsessive saver, that has not always, again, been the most favorable move for me. Even though I was very good saving and managing money, I wasn't always very good with doing things that made me enjoy moments in my life. So that makes a big difference. Are you saving? And if you're saving, what are you saving for? Like, that was my big thing. I was saving, but did I have a goal? And sometimes I was just saving just to know that I had it, because it's really sometimes the fear of not wanting to go back. Like for me, growing up with uh, a lifestyle where I grew up with a single mom, and not that I remember that we were living in a way that I wasn't being taken care of properly, but I just always knew I wanted to do something different. And then they also know that from understanding your moneyality types, you learn that it's actually part of your financial DNA, as I like to say. So you are actually born with a way of how you start to deal with money. Sometimes we suppress those ideas because we are exposed to all these different ways in the community, and maybe how we see our parents handle it, or how we see it handled in the media and stuff like that. But embedded in us, you normally always go to the core of who you are. And if you start thinking about it, you'll find that you hold on to that pattern. If you are a saver, you're going to see that you save probably more than you would be a splurger, or you would be a tracker. And like I said, I'm going to explain a little more about them. But as we go on, we're going to talk about exactly how and where did you learn about money, and how did you learn about how you were going to deal with it. And so now I'm just going to give you a little feedback and a little data about it. So because a lot of us are, as children, we don't really always understand about money. And so because most of us aren't learning, we are just kind of like in delayed responses. Like, look at the little girl, like she's begging us, like, how can you help me understand this? And when you have a delay in the introduction of money habits, wow, can you just imagine how you would have been if someone had set you down, maybe even had given you the moneyality assessment that I have created, and it shows me how you are actually thinking about money at an early age? Well, this little girl, if she had got that assessment, she probably would not be frowning up, right? And so that's important. Like, you want to try to get them as early as possible. And then, like, less than 10% of high school students are taught about money before they graduate. And I know in Memphis, it is required that students take a semester of personal finance. And that was also another reason that I got into this business, is because I knew that students were required to take personal finance. However, they were coming out of school and they were just still very not knowledgeable of understanding what personal finance meant to them. They had a little vocabulary, but it had no actuality of how to make it apply to their lives. So I thought, you know what, Dave Ramsey, you're not doing a great job in coming into these schools. And also, sometimes I know teachers that was teaching personal finance, they actually had multiple classes. So when you're trying to teach two classes and then you got to do the prepping for those classes, it gets difficult. So as a teacher, I do understand that. So a class that's a semester long, you may not put as much emphasis on it. So for me, it was really important for me to say, hey, if I could help those teachers by creating a course that would help them to have a guideline, that they could just allow them to have a self-paced course that the students could take and they just monitor it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. So that's what I have done. And so the next thing is that there are not many states that are mandated to do that. Mississippi, Tennessee are the two that are closest to me that are. So I know Mississippi and Tennessee, they are mandated to have personal finance classes. Now, are all school districts doing it? No, they're not. And are students even aware that they are supposed to have this? Maybe they're not either. Maybe their parents are not. And that's something that I do want parents to know, that that's very important, that it is very relevant for parents to know that their children are required to have personal finance as a course before they graduate from high school. And so, if that is not happening, then are the schools responsible for teaching children about money? That's the question, right? That was the question that's posed tonight. Are schools responsible? Is that going to be the only responsible person? And the other thing about that is, I'm always curious about, is it because not teaching our children, is it child abuse? Now, that was something that I learned when I have gone into a lot of research about it. And I know some people say, wow, that's kind of harsh. Well, to me, it is too. It is kind of harsh, but when we think about it, is child abuse a part of lack of not having kids being responsible for understanding their finances? It puts them in positions where they're not understanding how to do just basic information about their taxes that even come out the FICA taxes that come out of their checks. Um, Anything, the Social Security tax that come out of their checks, the just even filing their taxes, just so many little things that they'll say like they don't even understand. So when you're putting someone out there, like would you send your child out of the house and they're not prepared to have a coat on, like what you call that neglect, and it's freezing outside? I mean, there are so many aspects we can look at that. Is it really child abuse? I'm not sitting here saying that it's child abuse. I'm just saying it's things that we should talk about. These are things that we should think about. What are the limits? What are the barriers? What are the thoughts that come behind that? Like, what are the limits and what are the desires of what parents would call, or what would the DHS or somebody call child abuse? Like, is it just the fact that mental abuse or mental the lack of helping someone understand personal finance, or is that any different than helping somebody understand how to be able to take care of themselves, how to be able to feed themselves, how to clothe themselves? I mean, these are big challenges that we really need to talk about. So again, is it parents that need to be teaching their children about personal finance? Did parents know? Or parents say, well, I didn't know. Nobody taught me. My parents didn't teach me. Well, does that mean that you shouldn't? I mean, where where does it start? Where does it end? Where does it start? Those, again, like my mom didn't sit down and tell me about money, but what I was, because it was part of my financial DNA, I already had some ideas about saving. As a child, you'll find out from how your child participates in different things. Like if your child goes to a store and they're constantly asking you for things, that child has a tendency to be a splurger because they want instant gratification. Those are things that I am willing to tell parents about. I want to be able to talk to parents about little clues that you can start looking for even when they are small, like 3 years old, 4 years old. There are different behaviors that children display that leads me to see, like, wow, those are little triggers that we may should start looking at. And those are things that we can redirect them and to help them know that, okay, instant gratification may be something that you can get every once in a while, but that's not something that we need to practice every time they go in a store. And also, part of my goal is, as the Miss Moneyalogist, is to help you with different strategies to redirect them. So, again, going back over these things, schools are not in a position just across the United States to teach personal finance. Like, it is so many schools across the United States that are now beginning to have it as a mandate to teach personal finance in high school. So we're in 2024 and this is just happening. So wow, like, again, like, that is a big aha moment for me. And that is like a breaking point for me to think like, wow, this is really needed. And not that I am by any means dissing anybody else's personal finance program. I think there are some amazing personal finance programs out there, but are there enough? Clearly not. And I want to be one of them. So it is definitely something that schools need to definitely consider putting more emphasis on in their budgets. And also, again, getting parents on board and seeing if they understand the importance of having their children know more about finances before they put them out into the world. And that can be as easy as just starting to show them and share more information about them. Something that I talked about in one of my episodes, if you go back and look and follow me on YouTube at um, Moneyality on YouTube, you'll see that I talked on one of the episodes about being taboo topics. Money is such a taboo topic in most families, and especially in African American families. We are like, oh, that's none of your business. Let's just be quiet. You don't need to know about that, stuff like that. And I'm not telling you that you need to just go out and say, hey, my light bill is this and all that. No, I'm just telling you that it's okay to explain to them that these are bills that have to be paid, and not necessarily the amounts, but just telling them how households are ran, like how your lights are, why your lights are on. This is how we get electricity, and the water for you to take a bath is this. So those are important factors. So again, those are two areas where is it the schools, is it the parents, or is it a combination? And so right now I'm going to say it's probably a combination. So I'm going to go on. I'm not going to just stay on that. So our goal is to have moneyality courses all over the world and to change the way people learn about and use money. So again, that's why moneyality is so important to me. And that again is how and why I developed this business of moneyality, is to make sure that I can expose children, parents, organizations, and schools a different way of getting the word out about how children, adults, and their parents and grandparents, uncles, and all of that can help. Okay, again, I'm in the library. Let's see if I can get these lights back on. I'm gonna have to stand up. Hold up. Okay, sorry about that interruption. Okay, so let me hear it before they go off again. Okay, so again, I was telling you about the 5 types of money circulators. So again, let me make sure you understand. So there is a splurger, which is the excessive purchasing circulator, the keeper, which is the obsessive saving circulator, the tracker, which is the security planning circulator, the adventurer, which is the risky thrill-seeking circulator, and the mingler, the carefree socializing circulator. I'm not going to go into all of those tonight. I just wanted to kind of let that be part of an introduction to what moneyality is. If I was going to let anybody know, understanding these 5 things can make a world of difference in just knowing that kids understand these things when we start talking to them about them. When I say that our 5 money personalities is part of our financial DNA, if you go back to my very first episode on YouTube, I did episode with the 4 generations of my family, my mom, my sister, my nieces. And I tested my mom with my assessment, and my sister and my nieces. And my mom had a characteristic that she was a keeper, and she also was a splurger. So part of my financial DNA was that I am a keeper. My sister was a splurger. So as you can see, that was part of our DNA that had been passed down. It is somewhat accurate, right? That you see that that was part of our DNA. I don't know what my dad is, so I can't say that I've picked up a trait from him. But if we were to give parents the assessment and give their children assessment. It's kind of something I want to start tracking to see how many of them share the same financial DNA. So that's very important. That's some data that I'm really trying to collect as I grow with my company. So I actually will say go to YouTube at Moneyality and just start looking at my previous YouTube podcasts, and you'll see a little more about them. Okay, so about me, I am the Miss Moneyalogist. I am a former teacher. I was an English language teacher, and I am certified in personal finance too. I was certified by the Federal Reserve Bank in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur, I'm actually an entrepreneur even in creating Moneyality as a business. I'm an international consultant. I have lived in several countries. Like I said, I'm a fanatic saver, but my secondary Moneyality type is adventurer. My niche is that I'm a creator and I'm also a visionary. So those are my favorite things, is creating different things and having a vision to push through to get those things done. And actually, I'm going to stop here and I'm just going to kind of leave you with these thoughts about how and why we should kind of focus as parents, as uncles, as aunts, as grandparents at making sure that our kids, our grandkids, our nieces and nephews are well prepared before they leave high school, especially in understanding how finances work. Personal finances are the key to helping us live our lives. I don't know any personal things where money is not involved. There are a few, but I don't really know a lot of things that really can't be triggered back to money. So, financial aid, if you go to college, jobs, I mean, I don't really know a lot that is not related back to money and managing it. And I live it every day. I'm constantly seeing somebody doing some things that they say, oh, I wish I could do better at that or whatever. So, hey, I'm going to leave you tonight. It's been a pleasure. I just wanted to come on and just kind of talk about the topic. But I will leave you by saying parents and schools are definitely my top two of introductions to helping students, helping children understand personal finance. As the Miss Moneyalogist, I am honored and proud to be able to come tonight and talk to you at the Benjamin Hooks Library in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm here every fourth Thursday of the month. In May through December, I'll be the fourth Tuesday of every month. So after April, I'll be going to Tuesdays and less. So it's a free opportunity to come out and just hear different topics about money and understanding how the Miss Moneyalogist talks about money and all the different aspects of what's going on and how to live a more fruitful life in your finances. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to just put them in any of the comments on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. All of my tags are at Moneyality, which is Moneyality. So yes, Miss Moneyalogist is how I am referred, but all of my tags are at Moneyality. So thank you, and I hope you all are having an amazing night. And I look forward to talking to you. And I'm actually going to start doing more of my podcast again more frequently, not just at the end of the month. So take care. Have a great night. Again, peace and take care of your finances.